Thank you, Presiding Speaker. Well, I would appreciate if our Minister of Finance is here so that we can correspond, because when I asked a question in the morning, he gave a contrary answer, but let it be answered subsequently. Honourable Presiding Member, the situation that is there is we got three matters being done today. Public Debt Management Act, which was hitherto done by the Central Bank, and officially from 26 January is going to be transferred to the Finance Ministry. And at this particular moment, it's in a period of observation. The most critical factor that we see through interrogating through the Committee of Public Finance when they came before is that we find that the competent factor, the competent people that are expected of that particular institution doesn't seem to have come through into the Finance Ministry. When we asked the question about the professional ability of people that are there, the answer that came forward was that they have not got the approval to take the competent or the CFA, that is Chartered Financial Analysts that are there. None of them have been allowed to be recruited. So I guess we call upon the government to ensure that this is one of the most critical factors and that we must have the best of people that is there so that they can administer this Public Debt Management Act in order to ensure that we get the best of people in order to execute the function that is hitherto bestowed onto the Finance Ministry. Now, the reason that was why we asked this was there was certain technical matters that have been brought into the Public Debt Management Act as well as the Fiscal Responsibility Act, because there are certain things, the viability of a loan that is being taken, the ability to repay this by an institution, and from a national, it has been moving forward from a national balance sheet point of view, where including the government institutions have been brought in for the ability of payment. I guess with the bankruptcy that took place in in April 22, I think the government has taken necessary precaution. It's a Wickremesinghe government that basically took this additional precaution. So it has been specified into the Act so that protection is basically looked at and remedial action will be provided. Now, in the process, if a government institution, assuming it is the RDA, then ජනාධිපති කියලා තිබ්බා අප පිටරට ණය මේ දේශීය ණය ගන්නවට වැඩිය පිටරට ණය අරන් කඩවත මිහිරිගම පාර හදන්න ඕනේ කියලා. නමුත් ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී RDA එක සම්බන්ධයෙන් ගියාම ණයක් ගන්න මේ Public Debt Management Act එකේ ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් ඒ කියන්නේ මේ මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශයේ තියෙන ඩිවිෂන් එකේ ඒගොල්ලෝ රිස්ක් ප්‍රීමියම් එකක් දාලා තිබ්බා. ඒ රිස්ක් ප්‍රීමියම් එක දැම්මහම සාමාන්‍ය අපි ADB ලෝන් එකක් 3-4ට ගත්තොත් ඒක තව 3-4ක් එකතු කරාම මේක ගෙවන්න පුළුවන් තත්ත්වයක් ඇති වෙනවද නැද්ද කියලා ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති වෙනවා. Because sometimes it is not only the expenditure but the cost benefit analysis that has got to be looked at on this particular moment. So these are matters that have got to be looked at, and the professional staffing have to be basically given. When you look at the Sri Lankan Airlines, it is the same problem that exists. When we mentioned, when the first budget was spoken, there was the intention of putting 20 billion in to give the servicing of the interest charges and said there won't be any further payment. We mentioned that 20 billion is hardly sufficient to resurrect a dead or dying airline, because even though operational ability has been functional for the last 2 years, it is the overall debt sustainability of the airline that was in question. So now you could see when there is liabilities that are mopping up, they have got to be addressed. And the IMF is very, very concerned on this particular one, because they are basically saying that this needs to be commercialized. Now, the government must come up with a policy, because if by chance the government doesn't come up with a policy, it will certainly have an impact on the IMF's 5th tranche that will have to be negotiated somewhere in September. So, Honourable Presiding Speaker, the main reason why we are mentioning this is that we are very mindful that from 28 April, the government has to start paying their debt. Now, the debt payment is something which is substantial. And that needs to have a robust economy going forward. If the economy doesn't go forward, you won't be able to meet the revenues that are there. Now, in the process today, you could see that there was a high debate on the money printing. Now, why I take it is on the Public Debt Management Act, which is being legislated today. We basically saw that the government, there was a debate on how much of money printed. Now, money printing is absolutely essential. රජයක සල්ලි print කරන එක අත්‍යවශ්‍යයි. හැබැයි ඒක කරන්න අවශ්‍ය වන්නේ වත්කමක් සමග. ඉතින් මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ අහුවාම කියලා තියෙනවා නෑ මේක ආණ්ඩුව print කරන්නේ නැහැ කියලා නේ print කරනවා. print කරේ නැත්නම් එහෙනම් contraction එක. ඒ කියන්නේ ආර්ථික සංකෝචනය වෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මේක කරන්න තියෙන්නේ මේක පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙන්නේ මොන සංවදද supply side management එක වැඩි වුණාට කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. නමුත් මේක පුනරාවර්තන වියදම් වලට පාවිච්චි කරොත් තමයි තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නය. ඉතින් ඒ ප්‍රශ්නේ අහනකොට තමයි උදේ අපට අහන්න ඉඩ ප්‍රස්තාව ලබා දුන්නේ නැත්තේ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මම තමයි තෝනේ කමින් අහන්නේ අපේ රටේ ආර්ථිකයක් ගැන කතා කරනකොට
ඔබතුමායි කාලේ තව විනාඩි 2යි කරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමනි.
ඉතින් මට තව මිනිත්තු 3ක් අවශ්‍යයි. මොකද මම හිතන්නේ මට මිනිත්තු 11ක් දීලා තිබ්බා මම දන්නේ ඒක වාෂ්ප වෙලා තියෙන 8කට. ඉතින් ඒක මම හිතන්නේ අපි ලබා ගන්න අවශ්‍ය හරියාකාරව. ඉතින් මේ කතා කරන මොහොතේ දැන් ඔක්තෝබර් 24 බිලියන් 58.7ක් print කරලා තියෙනවා. නොවැම්බර් 78.30ක්, දෙසැම්බර් මාසේ 234.8ක්, 2025 ජනවාරි 117ක් බිලියන් print කරලා තියෙනවා. පෙබ්‍රුවරි 104යි, මාර්තුවරි 233යි, අප්‍රේල් 154යි, මැයි 33යි, ජූනි වල 210යි, ජූලයි වල 125යි, අගෝස්තු වල දැනට 50යි. ඉතින් ඔක්කොම බැලුවම බිලියන් 1410යි. ඉතින් ඒකෙන් මේක අවශ්‍ය වන වත්කමක් සහිතව කොහොමද ඒක ගෙනියන්න පුළුවන් අන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒකත් එක්ක total debt has increased from the time that Ranil Wickremesinghe left office in September 24 from 17.595 it has gone up to 30 trillion. Now on that particular basis what we are basically look at the foreign reserves. The foreign reserves when President Wickremesinghe left on September 24 there was 5,900 but now present moment it is on July it's 6,080. So for roughly 11 months the reserves have gone up by 180. But the central bank makes a big noise by saying that they have intervened to the market where $1,100 billion were bought in the open market. But what is the net increase? The net increase is the most important factor because the debt sustainability basically would have to add $250 million a month. US dollar million 250 මාසයකට එකතු කරන්න අවශ්‍යයි. ඒ එහෙම බැලුවම මේ මාසේ මේ අවුරුද්දේ අග වෙනකොට US dollar බිලියන් 7.23ක් විතර තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඉතින් මේ මාස 4-5 තුල අපිට US dollar මිලියන් 1100ක් එකතු කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ මේ අවස්ථාවේදී ඉස්මතු වෙනවා. ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන්
ඔබතුමායි කාලේ අවසానයි කරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමනි.
මිනිත්තු දෙකක් දෙන්න කතානායකතුමනි මම මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන්
විනාඩියක් දෙන්නම් කාලේ ඊටාම සීමිතයි.
හරි. ඉතින් ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් I'm talking of the casino industry, which is very important that the Gambling Regulatory Authority bill has been brought in. But we were very circumspect when it came to Committee of Public Finance, because we were trying to say that there's no point bringing laws if the operation of this becomes hampered. Now, on this particular one, authorization transaction relating to gambling. Now, here, how do you bring the money in? Is it cash only? Is it modern technology that you use? How do you tax the sources? None of them are explained. Regulatory authority bill is a thing that has been wanted for the last 10-15 years. So it's good that it's come. But then when you come into legislation, if somebody wins and you're unable to take the money out of this country, then that will create a problem and it will basically give a very sour picture to the world because you have we have 2-3 domestic gambling companies that are operating, then you have Melco that is coming in. So on that basis, you should basically have not only cash but other modern technology that is used to ensure transaction relating to gambling. Then record keeping. Now they say every transaction must be recorded. How on earth yeah, just a second. See, how can you record every single transaction? So it has to be modernized in keeping with materialness. Then the other one is digital gambling. Digital gambling is basically outside. Even though regulatory authority is saying it's gambling, the digital gambling is the ambit is so wide that anything and everything. So it has to be brought into a meaningful operation. Then the gambling software. The gambling software is not basically defined properly. It's not termed properly. So these are vague languages that are used in bringing in regulatory authority. This is the problem in our country. we don't give the professionals to do the job and ensure that they bring the legislation in. So we're being a half-baked regulation, and that means that you're perpetually in court. So it is only the
හොඳයි අපි අවසන් කරමු ගරු
yes, the
මන්ත්‍රීතුමනි.
rules of gambling, list of gambling numbers and stakes that are there, and the junket operation. So these must be meaningfully explained so that then we know as to how this operational activity is. So I know that time වෙලා අරන් තිබෙන නිසා මම මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඉල්ලන්නේ කාරුණිකව. අපි න්‍යායාත්මක මට්ටමට නීති ගෙනලා වැඩක් නැහැ. මේක ප්‍රායෝගික ක්‍රියාත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේකේ සංචාරක කර්මාන්තයට බලපාන නිසා අප ගේන්න අවශ්‍ය වන්නේ නීතිය ප්‍රායෝගිකව ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න පුළුවන් නීතියක් ලෙස මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ ඉල්ලනවා. බොහොම ස්තුතියි සභාපතිතුමනි.
ගරු නිශාන්ත ජයවීර මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඔබතුමාට විනාඩි 12ක කාලයක් ලැබෙනවා.